Hello, peepers. Welcome back to our channel. Today I would like to explain another Korean film called Silenced. This movie is inspired by some true events that happened in a special needs school in Korea. Spoilers ahead. Take care and enjoy. The plot of the movie follows the life of Kang In-ho, an art teacher who moves from Seoul to a small city, Mujin, to teach in a special needs boarding school. On his way to Mujin, because of the thick fog, In-ho accidentally hits a deer. At the same time, an unknown young boy is shown being hit by a train. In-ho then takes his car to a workshop to repair his broken windshield. However, the mechanic tells him that the repair process will take a long time. He then decides to come back the next day because he is about to be late. Before leaving, a woman crashes his car from the back. Her name is Eugene. They later get involved in an argument because of that small accident. Fortunately, Eugene agrees to pay the cost of repair for In-ho and even drives him to the school. She also gives him her name card, telling him that she is a human rights activist. Arriving at the school, In-ho meets Yuri and Yeon-do, two deaf students. He greets them with sign language. Unfortunately, they avoid him. Later, In-ho goes to meet the headmaster. The headmaster is a charismatic middle-aged man who is also active in church and other charity activities. It is later revealed that In-ho gets the job because of his professor's recommendation. That day, In-ho also meets the headmaster's identical twin brother who works as the administrative head of the school. In-ho immediately senses something weird when the administration's head requires him to pay the school development fund. Afterward, while talking to his mom on the phone, it is shown that In-ho comes from a middle working-class family and there is no way he can provide that much money to the school. In the following days, In-ho starts teaching in that school. Although he tries hard to get connected to his students, they seem not to trust him enough to open their hearts to him. Checking some of his students' profiles that night, In-ho finds a lot of shocking facts about his students. Min-soo, a troubled boy who lives only with his grandma. Yuri, a mentally disabled girl with a voracious appetite. Meanwhile, Yeon-do is an orphan. That night, when In-ho is about to leave the school after working overtime, he suddenly hears a girl screaming from the toilet. In-ho goes there to check the sound, but he is stopped by the school security officer. The next morning, in the administration's head room, it is shown that Inspector Jang is collecting some money from the school. It seems like Jae School keeps some police on their payroll for an unknown reason. Not long after that, In-ho comes to give the school development fund to the administration's head. Meanwhile, in the teacher's office, it is shown that Teacher Park is hitting Min-soo brutally, causing some visible wounds on Min-soo's body. In-ho, who just came back from the administration's head room, asks Teacher Park the reason. Teacher Park says because Min-soo left his dorm last night and brought two girls back. It is also revealed that his younger brother died several days ago after being hit by a train. When In-ho is about to leave school, he sees Yuri sitting in her room's window. Worried that she might fall from the building, In-ho rushes to her room and hugs her down. Yuri shows a weird reaction, avoiding In-ho by curling up in the corner as if In-ho wants to hurt him. Fortunately, when In-ho hands Yuri her favorite doll, her behavior changes. She later tugs In-ho to the dormitory's basement laundry room, as if something happened there. This time, In-ho entered the room to check. He is shocked when he sees the dorm's supervisor putting Yeon-do's head in the washing machine. When In-ho asks her to stop, she says that what happened in the dorm after school time isn't his business. After the incident, In-ho takes Yeon-do to the hospital and calls Eugene. The following day, In-ho reports what he saw to the headmaster and the administration's head. Surprisingly, they look indifferent toward the matter. The school offers to pay Yeon-do's hospital bills, but refuses any further investigations into this case. After getting off from his work, In-ho receives a call from Eugene. They agree to meet outside the hospital. Eugene tells In-ho that Yeon-do is sexually harassed by the headmaster. At first, In-ho can't believe what he hears. Eugene later shows him Yeon-do's letter. The young girl writes that she and her friends are often harassed by the headmaster, the administration's head, and some teachers. In that letter, she also mentioned that Teacher Park often harasses male students. Both Eugene and In-ho also find out that the dorm's head is the headmaster's adoptive sister and lover. She puts Yeon-do's head in the washing machine because she is jealous that the headmaster is attracted to Yeon-do. All these crazy facts shocked In-ho. He rushes back to the hospital to check on Yeon-do, because he is afraid that the school board might come to harm her. Later, Yeon-do is found hiding in a locker. The next day, Eugene and In-ho decide to take this incident to the court. Yeon-do then agrees to record her witness with In-ho helping her as the sign language translator. Yeon-do describes the incident in detail. She says the headmaster takes her to his room, making her watch an adult video while touching her body. Before the headmaster forces himself on her, Yeondu manages to escape and hides in the girls' toilet. Unfortunately, the headmaster finds her, climbing into the toilet to force her. She starts screaming when that man tries to pull down her panty. The headmaster kicks her to shut her up. In-ho immediately realizes that it happened the night when he heard those screams. Suddenly, Yuri appears at the Human Rights Office, telling them she also wants to share her story. It is later revealed that Yuri once is invited by the headmaster to his room. He lies to her, telling her that he will give her a cookie if she does what he asks. In that room, the headmaster pulls down her pants and forces himself on her. To strengthen Yuri's statement, Yeondu admits that she sees what happened to Yuri that day. The headmaster catches her peeping and chases her. He threatens to kill her if she tells anybody about this. That night, In-ho's mom and his daughter come to visit him. It is later revealed that In-ho's wife has died and his mom has to sell their house in Seoul for the donation money. His mom also brings a plant so that In-ho can give it to the headmaster as a present, hoping he will transfer him to Seoul since he has a lot of connections. The next day, Soo-jin goes to the Ministry of Education office in Mujin to report this case. They refuse to handle the case. The same thing happens when she reports this case to Inspector Jang in the police office. At the same time, Teacher Park is beating Min-soo in the headmaster's office when In-ho goes there to give the plant. At first, In-ho wants to ignore it because he is worried that they will fire him. However, seeing Min-soo with injuries all over his body, In-ho can't stand it. He slams the plant on Teacher Park's head and takes Min-soo away. Min-soo then agrees to tell his story and it is aired on the TV station. He mentions that Teacher Park often asks him and his brother to go to his house where he can harass them while taking bath. Min-soo also says that his brother dies being hit by the train because of this continuous harassment. Min-soo's statement angers the public. Inspector Jang has no choice but to arrest the headmaster, his twin brother, and Teacher Park. Unfortunately, the headmaster has a great reputation as a good priest. He immediately uses all his connections to help him slip off from this case. He points to an influential lawyer to defend him and fires In-ho because he dares to bring this case to court. With his influence, the headmaster manages to summon some witnesses that can defend him. The school's security officer, along with a female doctor who did check up on Yuri, defend him, saying that the headmaster doesn't seem to do that sexual harassment. Fortunately, the prosecutor can uncover their lies in the trial. Yuri also comes to the trial as a witness in which she describes what they did to her. The night after the trial, In-ho goes to meet his professor. However, it turns out that his professor knows the headmaster's lawyer. Both of them offer to help In-ho and Yeondu financially if they drop the case. Disgusted by the offer, In-ho declines the offer. The next day, it's now Yeondu's turn to explain in court. The lawyer confuses her by asking her to point out which one the headmaster is. Yeondu successfully does it and gives her explanation in confidence. Unfortunately, since the kids are underage, the court asks for their guardian's consent to continue their trial. They use Yuri's parents' psychological disability and persuade them to drop the case. The dorm's head also visits Min-soo's grandma and offers her money so she will sign the case withdrawal letter. However, Min-soo tells In-ho that he will never forgive Teacher Park, although his grandma has agreed to drop the case. That night, Yeondu suddenly wakes In-ho and tells him about the CCTV she saw in the headmaster's room. In-ho and Soo-jin later sneak into the school and take the CCTV recording with them. The next day, they bring that new proof to the prosecutor. As expected, the CCTV records the day when the headmaster sexually harassed Yuri. Unfortunately, the last trial is disappointing. The judge and even the prosecutor have been bribed by the headmaster. Although it's obvious that they are guilty, their punishments are extremely light and it makes the public angry. At the end of the movie, it is shown that Min-soo goes to take revenge. He stabs Teacher Park and they fight near the train. Both lost their lives being hit by the train. The unfair trial angered the disabled community. They hold demonstrations for days in front of the government office. In-ho is among those demonstrators, holding Min-soo's photo while shouting out his name. Months and years after that, Eugene sends an email about the children's improving condition. After all these years, they never give up on pursuing justice for those kids. Don't forget to check our other videos, peepers. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Asian movies recaps. Thanks for watching and see you on the next updates.